One sleepless night can cause permanent brain damage and insomnia. How long have you been struggling to fall and stay asleep? Discover why your brain can't shut down. What started as just one sleepless night turned into a full-blown insomniac sleep crisis. This one late, stressful, traumatic night caused damage to the part of my brain that controls sleep, something I didn't know was possible. Weeks went by, then months, then years, only getting worse. These sleepless nights were destroying my life. Anxiety, stress, panic attacks, lost confidence, the inability to think clearly. I didn't feel like me anymore. I would beg my brain to shut the hell up so I could go to sleep, only to trigger intense stress hormones that made everything feel devastating to me. I didn't know just one sleepless night would lead to this waking nightmare. I resorted to taking Ambien. Drugging myself to sleep was the only thing I could think of, after things like melatonin only made the reason I couldn't sleep much, much worse. I took Ambien for a few months, until this happened. The last thing I remember was lying in bed, yelling at myself to fall asleep, as usual. But something totally unusual followed. I woke up sleep driving at 3:24 a.m., wearing my pajamas, going the wrong way on LA's I-5 freeway. Bright lights were blinding me as the sound of blaring car horns whizzed by. "What the hell is going on?" I screamed. Was I having a nightmare, or was I awake? Is this real? I nearly shrieked in terror. I was disoriented and confused. Unfortunately, this was no nightmare. Not a sleeping nightmare anyway. I was driving straight into oncoming traffic. I had no idea how I got there, or how long I'd been behind the wheel. All I could think was, how the hell did I end up on the freeway, driving the wrong way, in the middle of the frickin' night? I pulled over, grateful I hadn't killed anyone. I sat there on the side of the freeway in a state of shock. A panic attack hit me like a 2x4 across the back of my head. I kept repeating, "This can't be happening. This can't be happening. This has to be a dream, right?" It was at that moment I realized, I can't keep pretending this sleep problem isn't a big deal. I just freaking woke up at the wheel of my car. Sleep driving. I knew I needed to find an actual sleep solution before I killed someone. That was the exact moment I woke up from my sleepless nights. That was the instant I stopped pretending I was okay. I wasn't okay, and I needed to know why. My experience as a high-level trained athlete, marathon runner, and triathlete led me down numerous rabbit holes. And through my health and wellness business, I had access to top medical minds to help me find the reason I couldn't sleep. Together, we discovered the core reason my brain couldn't shut off and how to rapidly repair it. Finding this sleep secret saved my life, my marriage, my home, and my sanity. I'm on the other side of sleeplessness and insomnia. My energy levels are off the charts. My libido feels like I'm a teenager again. Stressful situations barely affect me. I've started a brand new business. I even got back to pushing myself in the gym, training for my next race. And now, I'm helping other people struggling with sleep. With an extremely rare nutrient from the hemp plant, chock full of every nutritional, sleep-inducing compound your brain needs to repair itself. It's known as the sleep cannabinoid, shown to help repair the core brain damage. This never-talked-about, little-known nutrient attaches to the billions of cannabinoid receptors intelligently placed throughout your entire body, including your immune system, your nervous system, and your sleep system. The sleep cannabinoid works via the endocannabinoid system, helping to rapidly relax every part of your body. By helping to repair the brain's sleep dial, your body is literally made to receive this sleep cannabinoid. That's how you can guarantee easily falling and staying asleep until it's time to wake up. Imagine waking up feeling a complete sleep reset. There's no luxury greater than easily falling asleep at 10 p.m. and naturally waking up at 6 a.m. after sleeping uninterrupted through the entire night. That's the power of this rare nutrient. It's the same can of nutrient that makes you feel like you're sinking into the couch. It's just like the tryptophan drowsiness you get after eating your Thanksgiving turkey dinner. Except this sleep-inducing nutrient helps repair the potentially permanent brain damage that occurs from those endless, no-sleep nights. And no, the sleep cannabinoid isn't CBD. CBD rarely helps the core reason you can't fall and stay asleep. Today, I'm going to spill the tea in this 100% free video presentation. With that in mind, what if you could naturally overcome your sleep problems, insomnia, anxiety, depression, and your mental health in general, without any sleep aids whatsoever? Without waking up behind the wheel of a car at 3:24 a.m., without suffering through your days, barely awake, trying to act like you have the energy to get stuff done. Wouldn't you want this anxiety-squelching, sleep-made-easy secret? I'm Jim Hefner. I've been in the health industry most of my adult life, famous for building the largest float tank therapy center in the world. I've devoted my entire life to my health with my biohacking, brain-repairing secrets, obscure and often unavailable to the public. I was under debilitating stress, fighting to keep my wellness empire here in LA. My partner and best friend became my biggest enemy. My whole life suddenly became all about stress. Everything in my life became a tiger, some sort of mortal threat to my very existence. My partner became the symbol of the tiger I was running away from, trapping me in my fight or flight response. He was doing everything in his power to squeeze me out of our successful business. He wanted to take away my home, my ability to buy groceries, and keep my child safe. The stress didn't just hit me hard. It was traumatic and debilitating. My business and ability to provide for my family is being taken away from me because I don't have millions to fight this asshole in court. This could make my family homeless. This was when I started taking Ambien and found myself driving head-on in busy Los Angeles traffic. I can honestly say that taking Ambien was one of the worst decisions I ever made. I wish someone had warned me that just by taking this prescription, it would make my sleep problems, insomnia, and depression far worse. Side effects include sleepwalking, sleep cooking, and sleep driving. Yeah, right, I thought. That only happens to seriously messed up people. It never occurred to me I could be the one sleep driving. I need to be superhuman. I had family and employees depending on me. Don't we all think we're superhuman until something goes seriously wrong with our health? When I can't sleep, I really feel my mortality. I feel fragile, sometimes completely deranged, and extra reactive. Everything feels overwhelming and stressful to me. More stressful than usual by far. Bills, buying clothes for my kid, covering the mortgage, weigh like bricks on me. When I feel like this, it's hard to stay away from thoughts like, if I don't figure out this legal cluster, I'll not only lose my business, but I could lose my family home. My mind fixates on problems, putting my emotions on a hamster wheel, emotional roller coaster. Round and round, up and down, my worries and anxieties go, making me more stressed, panic-stricken, and burnt out than ever. I can't hide it. Being exhausted makes me feel powerless in the face of mega stress. I wear the exhaustion and stress all over my face. It's that feeling of revving the car's engine, but not going anywhere. That's what I call stress energy, and that's what it feels like. I'll talk more about what this exhaustion and stress does to your body in a minute, but life's ongoing stress battle can become all-consuming. Taking care of myself becomes less of a priority. It's not even really a consideration. Every single day is more of a struggle than the previous because my brain and body never recover. That's what burnout is. Forget positive thinking. Staying even slightly positive feels impossible. So getting my sleep back became my biggest priority. Before finding the answer, I did everything I could to get through the day. Endless coffee, too many energy drinks, even wheatgrass shots. Nothing helped me at all, really. I was still burning the candle at both ends. The truth is, without a great night's sleep, I'm the worst version of myself. I lash out more. I'm grumpy and feel underappreciated, and I'm so sluggish. I feel like everything I do is a step backwards. Nothing ever gets done. In fact, everything takes more energy to get way less done. I constantly question myself, can I even do this? Do I have the energy? I don't. I'll try to get it done tomorrow. When tomorrow comes, after another sleepless, traumatic night, I have even less energy and desire to get stuff done. But at the time, I was the sole breadwinner, so I pushed myself to keep going. That's why I was so desperate. I started taking Ambien. Here's what I didn't know. I didn't know that using Ambien made the underlying reason I couldn't fall asleep worse. With every single dose. In other words, Ambien damages what's known as the brain's sleep dial. It's this sleep dial damage that kept me further away from the deep, restorative sleep I desperately needed. It's the same with melatonin. Melatonin is often thought of as the gateway sleep crutch. You start with 3 milligrams, then 6 milligrams, then over 10 milligrams just to feel a little groggy. Here's the problem. The more you use melatonin, the more your brain stops naturally producing it on its own. Melatonin is also infamous for helping you fall asleep the first few times you take it, but the longer you take it, the less effective it is even against the mildest of sleep problems. Plus, rarely does melatonin help you sleep through the night. In fact, supplementing with melatonin often stimulates you to wake up at the peak regenerative mid-morning hours. It wears off quickly, while your brain never secreted and converted its own melatonin. The result? It's 2 a.m. and your brain's already telling you it's time to wake up. At the same time, waking up at these early morning hours triggers your powerful stress hormones. That's why you wake up in the mid-morning, with your heart and mind racing. That's why all of your fears about money, career security, and family feel so intense in the middle of the night. It's your stress hormones. I'll talk more about stress hormones and dark, lonely nights in a minute. However, natural melatonin and supplementing with melatonin are just small parts of why your natural sleep cycle is broken. It wasn't until I discovered the brain's sleep dial that I figured out why everything I tried didn't work. More importantly, once I discovered how to repair the sleep dial with the rare sleep nutrient I mentioned earlier, I was finally able to defeat insomnia, anxiety, and depression. But it's definitely not just me. When you use Hemp's secret sleep cannabinoid, just like I did, you can reset the neurotransmitter responsible for controlling sleep, deep in the brain. The mechanism behind how this sleep nutrient works for anyone. Without this sleep reset, you'll remain dependent on pills that continue malfunctioning your brain's sleep dial. You'll also have to keep taking more of the same pills to get any sleep effects at all. It's a dangerous, destructive cycle to get stuck in. Your tolerance to common sleep compounds builds up quickly because your brain's sleep dial keeps getting more and more damaged. Fortunately, it doesn't matter how damaged your brain's sleep dial is. With the solution I helped formulate with a doctor's help, as well as other health professionals from my Rolodex. I'll tell you what this formula is and why it's the only solution you'll ever need to get your sleep back. Now, sleep really is the real fountain of youth. It's when your brain and body repair themselves and restore your ability to live. When your sleep dial does malfunction, your symptoms are endless. Brain fog, chronic fatigue, overeating, emotional eating, blood sugar problems, insulin resistance, toxic weight gain, acute, constant inflammation and pain, and plummeting confidence. These are just a few symptoms of sleepless nights. If you do have full-blown insomnia, anxiety, and depression, I don't have to tell you how extreme the consequences are. Your relationships fall apart, you can't work, your A1C numbers skyrocket, your blood pressure jumps to dangerously high levels, and your bank account almost completely empties because you're always fighting for energy you don't have to get stuff done. Even worse, you have zero energy to fill your bank account back up too. All because your brain's sleep dial is turned up way too high for your brain to relax and tuned to chaotic, stress hormone-fueled anxiety. If you're like me, it's super easy to feel scared if you can't solve your sleep problems. You'll lose everything. Before I found Hemp's sleep nutrient, I hadn't gotten a good night's sleep since early 2020. We all know what started in early 2020, right? It's still limiting our way of life today. My mental health decline, insomnia, and depression intensified when the pandemic hit, just like it did for billions of people. It was pretty obvious if you watched the news or spent 5 seconds on Facebook. When the shutdown first hit, alcohol sales went through the roof, and millions of people started taking Ambien, Lunesta, Xanax, and OTC sleeping pills. Just like I did. Millions of people resorted to taking these addictive pills to put their brains to sleep for the night, just like I did. In 2018, it was estimated that over 70 million people in the United States alone suffered from sleepless nights and insomnia, just like I did. Of course, this was before the pandemic changed all our lives. Enter 2020. Studies show that clinical insomnia went up by 37%, acute stress by 15.8%, chronic anxiety by 18.5%, and depression by a whopping 24%. And according to a top peer-reviewed study, drinking habits bordered on full-blown alcoholism for millions of people all around the world. The real numbers are probably much, much higher than that, because we all have and need coping mechanisms. We just need healthy coping mechanisms, like reliable sleep. So, let me just take this chance to remind you, your mental health isn't just important, it means literally everything to you and your life, including your longevity here on Earth. And the kind of mental health that withstands any amount of life stress always starts with sleeping throughout the night, during the peak restorative hours. Sleep means everything to building and growing a successful, happy life. Sleep means having the health and energy to be there for the people you love. Sleep means knowing you have the strength and energy to quickly get stuff done, so you can have fun and live your life, while knowing the people you love are taken care of. So yeah, getting a full night's sleep is critical. It's the first line of defense for your mental, emotional, and physical health. Now, here's a deeper, underlying issue I glossed on earlier. When you can't easily fall and stay asleep, it's a sign something's really, really wrong. You never have the energy to live. Have you ever thought how your body is getting you through the day when you aren't getting restorative sleep? It's definitely not energy. It's cortisol. Your sleepless body runs on stress hormones, mainly cortisol, which can make mild stress feel big and makes acute stress feel absolutely life-ending, especially in the middle of the night, when you wake up and your anxiety instantly blares in your mind. The reality is, you're only supposed to endure small bursts of cortisol, like when you're literally running away from a tiger, running away for your very life. It's the main hormone that's behind your fight or flight response. The problem is, your cortisol bursts never stop when you can't sleep. Your ability to deal with stress, aka your stress response, disappears. Pressure, stress, and consequences keep building up, keep weighing more heavily on your shoulders, without the sleep reset that squeezes out your emotional sponge. A lack of sleep also depletes serotonin, your main happy chemical. In the absence of serotonin, everything and everyone stresses you way more. Ultimately, the never-ending stress and your ability to get regenerative sleep causes more damage to your brain's fragile sleep dial. The whole brain-damaging cycle repeats again and again, diminishing your quality of life on a daily basis. It's a horrible feeling, too. All of this cortisol produces a pronounced, nervous hyper-energy. It's like your body's engine is revving up, but your emergency brake is on, and you're barely moving. It's a miserable feeling to constantly deal with. I had no clue that just one sleepless night could snowball into this full-blown insomnia. That's all it takes to slip into insomnia hell. All I can say is, if I had known then what I know now, I would have saved myself from uncountable nightly nightmares. Now, I ain't lying when I say just a single sleepless night caused all of this. I was up too late, working. As I mentioned earlier, I was battling to keep my Los Angeles wellness center. My greedy partner, a partner I thought was my best friend, was doing everything in his power to take everything from me. I remember that first night, staying up until almost 4 a.m. My adrenaline was pumping so hard as I went through legal documents and court filings to save my business. I never felt so wired before in my life. I probably slept no more than an hour. The next night, I was so overly tired, I had to take 9 milligrams of melatonin so I could pass out. But I woke up only a few hours later, just past 1 a.m., and I was up the rest of the night. The constant jolts of cortisol filled me with panic. I paced from one side of the house to the other, as my exhausted and panicking self tried to figure my whole life out. This was a regular way of life for me for months. Nighttime became something I dreaded as soon as the sun began to set. I was never someone who dealt with panic attacks until I lost my sleep. I faced every sundown with a sense of dread of what was to come. What started as struggling to fall and stay asleep became the single biggest preoccupation, the biggest problem I had in my life. I was waking up every 90 minutes in shock from those bursts of cortisol. This seriously happened every single night, like a Stephen King cuckoo clock, constantly tormenting me. The accumulation of no sleep prevented my brain from repairing itself enough so I could sleep. The stress wasn't getting any better either. 2020 handed me some of the lowest low points of my adult life as a man, a son, a father, and a husband. Because at the same time I was losing my business, my mom, my best friend, got diagnosed with lung cancer out of nowhere. She never smoked. She didn't drink. Yet she got one of the deadliest forms of lung cancer. It was devastating for everyone, but it definitely weighed on me the most. To make matters worse, my mom needed my financial help and emotional support to fight her disease. I had to find money anywhere I could to keep everyone taken care of. she quickly ended up in the hospital, fighting for her life. A fight she lost far too quickly. As her life was rapidly coming to an end, the nurses kept telling me, "Visiting hours are over, Jim," but my love and loyalty wouldn't let me leave my mom's bedside. The term visiting hours didn't mean anything to me. I sat in the corner of her hospital room, wearing my mask, staying by her side until her very last breath. I lost my business, I lost my mom, and I lost the ability to sleep. All of this loss made me completely disassociate myself from reality. It got so bad that I'd be sitting right next to my wife on the couch, binge-watching something on Netflix. And yet, I was always a million miles away, just trying to cope with all of the stress and trauma of everything happening in my life. Even worse, my wife had to find a job, because for the first time in my life, I couldn't provide for the people I love. Talk about depressing. I was broke and broken. I was truly a shadow of the man I really am. I was losing everything that made me feel like a man, like being a provider who's taking care of his family. The part of my brain responsible for sleep, aka the brain's sleep dial, was too broken, too damaged to work. It made getting back on my feet all the more impossible feeling. Now, when I say brain damage, I'm not being overly dramatic. When your brain is deprived of recuperating, restorative, regenerative sleep, you can literally see the damage. Don't believe me? Well, this is likely what's happening to your sleep-deprived brain right now. This is an fMRI scan and why you can't sleep. You literally have a different brain than people who get regular sleep. It's a problem that only gets worse unless you repair your brain's sleep dial. The longer you let sleep-deprived brain damage go on, the more permanent your sleep problems become. It's an endless, traumatic cycle that never ends unless you address the core of why your brain can't shut off and repair itself. Now, your brain repairs itself the most between 2 to 6 a.m., but you ideally have to get to sleep by 10 p.m. to reach this naturally restorative state. Here's what I mean. This is your brain's circadian rhythm sleep clock. If you don't get enough sleep tonight and go through the brain's entire circadian rhythm cycle, your body will never recover, and you won't get your natural sleep back. So, I had to figure out what the core of my sleep problems were. I used my Rolodex like nobody's business to find the answers. I had contacts with some of the greatest health and medical minds in the greater Los Angeles area. No way that's an accident, right? I connected with Dr. Anish Desai. He's an internal medicine doctor out of NYU. In combination with his expert guidance and my own research, I knew I could crack the sleep code. By this point, we were already well into the second year of the pandemic. A lot of the contacts I had were still hesitant to meet me in person, so I got super familiar with using Zoom really fast. In just 1 week, I spent over 37 hours on Zoom, interviewing doctors, functional nutritionists, neurologists, hypnotherapists, meditation gurus. I mean, I seriously could have run an entire online health summit and charged a lot of money for the information I received. After all of these interviews and more sleepless nights than I can count researching the brain, the sleep dial finally came into view. It's your GABA neurotransmitter. GABA controls your brain's ability to relax and sleep. If GABA is underfueled and underinhibited, it freaks out, making your nervous system freak out too. That's where your anxiety comes from. That's where fear comes from. That's where your panic attacks at 3 a.m. come from. That's where "I can't sleep and tomorrow's going to be a disaster" comes from. It's GABA. GABA also regulates your brain's amygdala, which in turn controls your fight or flight response, or that constant sense of running away from danger, even when absolutely nothing's wrong. It's a horrible feeling to feel trapped in. So all of my research focused around how to refuel and stabilize GABA. I needed to figure out how to turn down the GABA dial and give my brain and body permission to relax, easily allowing me to fall and stay asleep throughout the night, every night. I connected with one of the most regarded manufacturers of supplements in the United States. I needed help sourcing the rarest sleep nutrients. In collaboration with their nutritional experts and top manufacturers, we were able to find an extremely rare ingredient, known as the sleep cannabinoid. Now, CBD has been all the rage since hemp was legalized, and the sleep cannabinoid also comes from the hemp plant. But this cannanutrient is 9 times more expensive to extract from the hemp plant. It's totally worth the trouble, too. This cannanutrient is called CBN. It's GABA's best friend. CBN tells your GABA neurotransmitter, everyone's okay. You're okay. You can relax now. Pretty amazing stuff. CBN is shown to uniquely attach to your CB1 GABA receptors, dialing down the neurotransmitter's overactivity. In doing so, you'll likely experience what genuine relaxation feels like, probably for the first time in years, if not decades, if not for the first time in your entire life. The best part is, CBN doesn't make you feel groggy the next day like sleeping pills and melatonin. You aren't being sedated into a fake, non-restorative sleep. Quite the opposite. CBN helps turn the GABA dial down to guide your brain into its natural circadian rhythm. That's how CBN helps repair the brain damage your sleepless nights caused, so you can get your sleep back. After carefully finding the optimal dose of CBN and combining it with supporting compounds that help your brain recover from all of those nights you couldn't sleep, the end result is called Sleeply. Sleeply is an expert-formulated solution to address and manage the core of sleeplessness, insomnia, anxiety, and depression. The nightly dose of brain-repairing CBN begins to rebalance your GABA neurotransmitter, starting the very first time you take Sleeply. With ongoing use, decades of damage done to your brain from countless sleepless, stress, traumatic nights can be undone. But helping turn your brain's sleep dial down so you can relax, recover, and rejuvenate isn't the only thing Sleeply's formulated to help with. You have to deal with all of that cortisol that's flooding your bloodstream. After all, it's cortisol that makes you feel so unforgettable and uneasy every time the sun starts setting. So, we added Shodan ashwagandha into Sleeply. Ashwagandha is well known for helping reduce cortisol, but Shodan ashwagandha is the most bioavailable form of the stress-crushing herb on the planet. Its mechanism is amazing too. When your energy is low, Shodan ashwagandha lifts you up. When you're running on stress hormones, Shodan ashwagandha relaxes the nervous system and brings you down. This ancient plant in Shodan form has more peer-reviewed clinical studies than any other form of the plant. Shodan ashwagandha is proven to significantly increase overall restorative sleep by 42%, significantly improve energy level scores by 57%, mood and positive mindset by 48%, rested and refreshed state scores by 76%, and mental alertness scores by 71%. Most importantly, Shodan ashwagandha is proven to dramatically increase your ability to easily fall and stay asleep. As a bonus, Shodan ashwagandha helps regulate serotonin levels, drastically increasing your sense of happiness. This gives you way more natural energy, heightened libido, and a very real feeling of unshakable calm. Plus, your stress response, or your ability to healthfully respond to stress, gets stronger and stronger the longer you take Sleeply. But that's definitely not all Sleeply does to help your brain and body remain stress-free, calm, and able to easily fall asleep through the night. We also added a clinically studied form of Venetron Rafuma leaf extract. Like CBN, Rafuma works through the GABA receptors to almost instantly instill a sense of instant internal peace. This powerful botanical regulates your brain's sleep dial to have a quiet mind, freer from anxiety, freer from panic attacks, freer from the constant, "Oh my God, my life is over if I can't sleep," feeling that terrorizes you every insomnia-driven, restless night. Venetron Rafuma leaf extract is an herbal remedy that's strong enough to be the #1 choice for people who deal with panic attacks and nervous breakdowns, making it a powerful, irreplaceable addition to Sleeply. Finally, we formulated a proprietary blend of L-theanine, an essential amino acid clinically proven to replenish optimal GABA levels. Reishi mushroom, shown to regulate the kidneys, where adrenaline and cortisol are secreted. This keeps cortisol in check, further managing the core of insomnia and sleepless nights. Valerian root, another valuable herb that uniquely binds to your GABA receptors, helping regulate your sleep dial to maintain its optimal level. Lastly, we added a pure form of GABA directly into Sleeply's exclusive formulation to repair the core brain damage, preventing you from sleeping no matter how tired you are. With Sleeply, you're dealing with the underlying reason you sleep broke, the GABA sleep dial. You're not drugging yourself to unconsciousness. You're erasing years of no-sleep stress while reducing levels of cortisol and regulating serotonin levels. So slipping right into your brain's natural circadian rhythm is completely effortless. That's our guarantee, too. In fact, we stand behind this brand new formulation so much, we're giving you our lifetime guarantee. If you aren't getting the very best sleep of your entire life at any point in time, we'll give you a full, no questions asked refund. That's how confident we are Sleeply will work for you. But when Sleeply does help you get your sleep back, you'll want to keep taking it so your sleep dial's fully repaired. Then, you'll want to stay on it so you never lose your sleep again. You're going to want to save some money, right? That very reason is why most of our customers order Sleeply with our subscribe and save option. They want to make certain their bottle or bottles of Sleeply keep arriving in their mailbox, because going back to their no-sleep nightmare isn't an option. With Sleeply, you're never groggy when you wake up like you get from melatonin, OTC sleeping pills, and prescriptions like Ambien and Lunesta. Oh, and when you take Sleeply, you'll never end up on the freeway in the middle of the night, going the wrong way. I do have to warn you, we often run out of Sleeply. Seeing this video means we presently have fresh Sleeply in stock. We watch every batch of Sleeply like a hawk at our FDA-approved, state-of-the-art facility. That means we're only able to produce a few thousand bottles of Sleeply at a time. You're seeing this right now because we have a fresh batch of Sleeply in stock. I recommend getting 3 bottles with our subscribe and save option, so you're guaranteed to always have Sleeply on hand for yourself and everyone in your family who needs it. Let's face it too, who doesn't need a better night's sleep these days? There's no other way to say it. Between the pandemic and all the stresses you were already dealing with before it, your brain's sleep dial is being constantly attacked. That makes getting your sleep back and keeping your GABA neurotransmitter in healthy shape one of your life's biggest priorities. That's why I wholeheartedly recommend choosing to subscribe and save when you order. You'll save at least an extra $21 a month for something you and your family will never want to be without. And don't worry, you can cancel anytime. We'll also let you know before we send out your new order, so you can say no to your next shipment should you decide Sleeply isn't for you. Plus, of course, you still get 100% of your money back if Sleeply doesn't help you get the best sleep of your life. Again, that's our lifetime guarantee. So, forget about getting addicted to pills that make your sleep problems worse. Repair the core brain damage stopping you from sleeping. That's really the choice you have in front of you right now. Either continue taking pills that just put a temporary band-aid on your sleep problems, or repair the core reason you can't sleep. Sleeply's proprietary formulation is what saved me from madness. After I lost my business, after I lost my mom, after I lost my sleep, life stopped feeling like a familiar place anymore. I was dealing with major PTSD. But when we perfected Sleeply's formulation and I started taking it every single night, falling and staying asleep became easy. As I said in the very beginning of this video, I'm experiencing the very best sleep of my life. For the first time in a long time, I'm able to actually recover from my everyday stresses without feeling like everything's always piling up and weighing on my shoulders. That's an amazing feeling. I have to say, I do not miss feeling fragile, weak, and anxious every day because I couldn't sleep. It was a health nightmare, physically, mentally, and emotionally, unlike anything I've ever experienced before. But the reprieve from sleepless nights is even sweeter than I expected. I'm so grateful for being able to easily fall and stay asleep every single night, no matter how much stress I'm dealing with. Every day, I feel stronger, clearer, more confident, and more energized than ever to tackle life with a smile on my face. For me, though, the thing I'm most grateful about is how Sleeply's empowered me to be present with my wife and daughter again. When I was tired all the time, I felt resentful anytime anyone wanted or needed my attention. But now that I got my sleep back, we're back to being the adventurous, happy family we remembered. My wife religiously takes Sleeply too. Now that she can sleep again, without stress and anxiety, she never wants to go back. So make sure and order at least 3 bottles with our subscribe and save option. You and your family will be guaranteed Sleeply when new customers are put on back order. Plus, don't forget, you're completely protected by Sleeply's no hassles, lifetime money-back guarantee. The bottom line is, the longer you take Sleeply, the better your sleep gets. Imagine your head hitting the pillow, and you quickly drift away into a restorative, regenerative, rejuvenating slumber. No stress, no worries, no trauma. Just the best sleep of your life, every single night. So choose from one of the options below and fix your brain's damaged sleep dial to get your sleep and life back, guaranteed. Thanks for watching, and here's to a lifetime of sleep-filled nights.